Hello! Welcome back to English 1 with me, Professor Neil, and my TA, Younghee.
Hello, this is TA Younghee.
Well, Younghee, we're on Unit 9, Part 1, and we're talking about the past. What is the past? Well, let's look at the past in the warm-up.
Oh, what is that?
This is Omgung Gang Yeon-gwa. This is Busan in
Wow.
1984.
1984.
This is the past. This is the past, and this is before now.
This is 주례 학장 개그 where our Dongsu University located.
Where our university is located.
Wow.
And it's changed a bit.
Oh, it was 주례 리. Bird view fit photo.
Oh, bird's eye view.
Mm.
Oh.
1950. It's after the Korean War.
During the Korean War.
Yeah.
So let's jump forward a bit. So we're going to jump forward, do a bit of a time leap. Oh.
냉정.
Naengjong. Oh.
주례.
Some jure ladies.
1980s music. I wasn't even born, Professor Neil.
Oh, I was born.
Look at the Mapsi 화점.
So, look at that. So you can see here Gyeongnam.
정보대.
And, Naengjong-sim.
냉정쌤,
Alright,
밀쌤.
so let's pause the video. So yes, this is the past. This is the past, before now. And this is what we're talking about today. Remember, when you get back to Dongso, go here and wash your feet before coming to class. Yeah, really. Anyway, let's get back to what we're studying. So in our warm-up, the idea to show the video is because we're talking about the past. What is the past? Well, you have the present.
Marine City.
You have the past. And you have the future.
Future.
And so the present is now. Right? The past is before now, and the future is after now.
Before now, after now.
Yeah, so present now is today. Past before now is yesterday, yesteryear. And the future after now is the tomorrow.
Present is now and today. Past is before now and yesterday. And future is after now, which is tomorrow.
Yes. So we're talking about this and the way we're going to look at ways that we talk about the past in English today. So that's the warm-up end. A little introduction about the past, and why did we do that? Because as we say, we're talking about before. Alright, days before
Something.
now. Yes,
Before now.
Before now. And to talk about before now in English, there are two main different ways of doing it. One is using verb tense, and the other way is to use time expressions. These, last Sunday, 3 days ago, 1 week ago on Wednesday, yesterday, 2 weeks before today, the day before yesterday, are all time expressions.
Time expression.
They are a way to talk about the time, when something happened. They answer the question when. Looking at the book for the starter in Unit 9, we have the month of May. This is our example, our bogey, our example. And here we have a square marked today. Now the idea is, it says, add the words from the box, the time expressions, to the calendar. So the first one, this is the 19th. Here we have the 18th. Which time expression, Younghee, matches with the 18th?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Right? The day, and so here, yesterday. So notice the color blue is yesterday. Blue is yesterday. And green?
Green is the day before yesterday.
The The day before yesterday. Very good. Now, we could go on to the 16th and say this is the day before the day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes, and we can do the day for the 15th, the day before the day before the day before yesterday. And then the day before the day before the day before the day before yesterday. But that gets a bit crazy. So we use the next expression, which is a bit easier, which is
3 days ago.
3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 7 days, and so on. But we don't want to count everything. So if we go back to Sunday, we could go 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. That's okay. Or we could say
Last Sunday.
last Sunday, or you could say on Sunday. On Sunday is an option too. See, here it says like on Wednesday. So you could say on Sunday too. And that can be used to talk about the past and about the future.
I know 1 week ago on Wednesday is 10th.
Yes, very good. It's the 10th. And the last one, 2 weeks before today is which day?
2 weeks before today is 5th.
The 5th.
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm
well
math
then.
genius.
Yeah, Yonghee. Take some notes. Note that down, so we say write them in the box. Write them in the box for that day. So those are the time expressions. And we use them to express when something happened.
In the past.
In the past. Because the past is before. This is before.
Before today.
Before today.
Now.
Before now. Because even today, if you check the time, like the time is maybe 5 p.m., anything before 5 p.m. is the past. So anything before now is the past. So this morning, when you had breakfast, even though it's today, that was before now, so that's the past.
Anything before now is the past. Right now.
Thank you, Yomi. Let's take a look at this using of past tense before we move to the grammar. Or maybe use the grammar at the same time, because here we have our grammar in the meaning chunk. So look at the dialogue. First, we're going to listen to the dialogue. Yonghee and I will read the dialogue. So, Yonghee, if I read Eric and you read Mary.
I'll be very merry.
Okay. What did you do yesterday?
I went to the mall with some friends.
Did you buy anything?
No, we didn't. We watched a movie.
How was the movie?
It was disappointing.
Yes,
Professor, do we really have to read really slowly?
Yeah, we read that a bit too slowly. Alright, so in this dialogue, what was the time expression they used?
Time expression is the first one, Eric. Yesterday.
Yesterday. Alright, so he says yesterday. That's the only time expression he uses. Everything else here to talk about the past is done with the verbs. And here are some examples of verbs. Verbs. Verbs are the action words in English. They are the action words. Things like work, join, move, is, are, take are the verbs.
Work, join, move, study, plan, is, are, take, give, begin, make, do, go, get, leave, eat, hit, buy, have, see. All these words describing action.
Action. And notice here we have like work, an arrow, and worked.
Worked.
Because this is emphasizing past tense.
You attach ed at the end of the verb.
Yes, and they are called regular verbs, have the ed.
Regular.
They're the irregular verbs which don't have the ed, but still have past tense.
So irregular is different form.
Yes, 이상하다.
So how do we know?
You don't know. You have to study and memorize. Yes.
암기. memorize 암기.
Okay.
Difficult.
So, in this dialogue, put a circle or square or box around each verb in each sentence. So, Yonghee, what was the first verb?
Did and do.
Oh. Yes, did and do. So, did has the past tense. Do does not. Because of the what, did has the past tense because it's a question. And then in the next sentence,
Went.
Is there any more verb?
No.
No, just one verb. Went. And the next one?
Did and buy.
Yeah, so notice again, this one is a question. Did has the past tense and buy does not have past tense. And then the next sentence?
Did.
Yes, did. It stops there in the sentence. So it's
watched.
Watched. And notice, Yonghee mentioned before, there's the ed here because this is a regular verb. And then
Was.
Past tense. And obviously another was.
Was.
Those are all our verbs in this dialogue. And they have past tense. Each sentence has some type of past tense.
A lot to remember.
A lot to remember.
Memorize.
So we go for
Write down.
Yes, go for it slowly and carefully. That they are the verbs, the action or linking words. Here in the meaning chunk, notice how it says verb and you've got past because it wants to talk about subject, here like I, and then verb past, went. Or the past tense is with the did, as we said here, like what did. And that's the thing, they are talking about the past, so there is past tense. And the verb, this one has a dot, so like here you've got the did, what did you do yesterday? And this verb does not have tense.
So did is auxiliary do, dummy do's past form. So after that, all main verb retains, holds on to original form.
Yes. And we're going to look at that now in the grammar. We mentioned a moment ago that there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. So let's look at them in a little more detail. It's related to past tense. Here you can see our regular verb and I, which include work, join, move, study, plan. This is their base form. If you look in the dictionary, this is the form you will find in the dictionary. And in the dictionary, it might tell you that this is the past tense of each of these verbs. And because they're regular, they have an ed at the end of them.
Professor Neil, then a verb that has a regular past tense attachment is like a base form on the left, work, join, move, study, plan.
Base form.
Plus ed at the end of the word.
Ed. There are some exceptions, like study here. You have IED. Because
Y becomes I.
Y becomes I because of spelling. And sometimes you've got an N. Not always, because here, like join, you didn't get two N's, but here planned, you get two N's. And it's not always. So again, things to memorize. There's no fixed rules. Because as we said, here on the right, you've got irregular verbs. So you've got an irregular verb and an irregular verb and regular verb. In their base form, look the same. Like work and make. They've both got 4 letters. They've both got a K. There's almost nothing to make them different. But we don't say made. We say made for past tense. Why? I asked a professor at Bukyong called John Stoneham a few years ago why, and he said, we don't know why. It just is that way in English, unfortunately. Alright, so as we said, these ones are the present tense, and over here, the next ones are the past tense. And through memorization and practice, and by learning them, you will improve your English. Difficult, and that's why
irregular verbs.
I wish you luck from now on, because it gets a little more difficult suddenly. So let's again practice a bit of it by looking at it in sentences, in statements. We have on the left here the affirmative statements,
positive
statement, and negative statements, because they've got the not, the adverb not in them. Now, as we said, each sentence is split between subject and then a verb and then extra. Now, with the affirmative sentences, each sentence will have a verb phrase within them. And here, this verb in the affirmative sentence, they have the verb. But in the negative sentences, because of the not, you have the verb plus auxiliary.
So negative not goes next to the auxiliary did.
Yes. So in this case, you have to have, because it's past tense, present tense, different. But past tense, this is the rule. Alright, so for affirmative, if it's regular, you add an ed. If it's irregular, the form or pronunciation change. Alright, but here in the negative statements, notice the verbs stay in base form. Alright, if you're wondering what base form is, we'll go back just quickly. Here is the base form, the first line. Alright, the base form is the first line. And you can see with the negative ones, they stay in their base form. They don't, watch has no ed. Right, because the past tense is with the auxiliary here.
Professor Neil, so when we have a 조동사, auxiliary verb, so 조동사 has the past tense, 과거 시제, then main verb, base form, don't have anything. Just a 조동사, auxiliary verb takes everything.
Yeah, and we experienced this last week with the modal auxiliary verb can. Alright, the can. When you have a modal auxiliary, it stops the base form having any form of tense.
It's very important.
It's very important. So, I mean, we learn this by looking at things to do with the past, the present, the future, things that happen before now and after now. So things to work out. So for example, if you have a verb like work, when it becomes past tense, because it's regular, you get ed. Now, we meant the future, we're not studying the future today, because in future we usually add an auxiliary.
Will.
Like will.
조동사 will.
Will work.
Used for future tense.
Yes. Because English future tense is for chapter 10.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. So let's look at how these sentences work. As we say, we'll practice first with the verb work. So it's like, I work in a restaurant. This is present tense. And in previous units, like units 1 and 2 in the book, we use this to talk about our regular activities, things we do every day. These are things like, every day I work in a restaurant. Every day I work at school. But we want to talk about the past, not present tense. So we don't want to use present tense, we want to talk about the past. So here we add in the time expression yesterday. And suddenly now the verb is wrong.
It has to be matched with yesterday.
Yes, so the tense of work has to match with the time expression.
Past.
If the time expression was today, I work in a restaurant today, be okay. But because yesterday is a past time expression,
Very, very past.
it's very past. It's very much before now.
Ooh.
ED has to pop in.
ED.
Magic.
Because work is regular. Regular.
Yes. Past tense, so you can see it here. Worked. Worked. Past tense.
So I worked in a restaurant yesterday.
Yes. So you could say, I joined in a restaurant yesterday. I studied in a restaurant yesterday. I planned in a restaurant. But if you use a word like eat, because you go to restaurants to eat food, like I eat in a restaurant every day, that's okay, because it happens again and again. But we want to talk about, right, so in present tense, that's fine. Grammar's okay. But if we want to talk about yesterday, we can't say I eat in a restaurant yesterday. You're like, why not? Well, because it's past tense. We need. Okay, can we make it eated? No. You can't say eated.
Why?
Why not?
Why can't we make everything regular?
Good question. Why can't we make everything regular? We want to make everything regular. We do. English people want everything regular. But it's not happening. So for now, you have to say, I ate in a restaurant yesterday. You have to use the past form of the irregular verb.
Eat.
Ate.
I ate. I ate in a restaurant yesterday.
Not simple. It takes time, it takes practice, and it's something you're going to have to learn through regular exercise.
Practice makes perfect.
And one way of practicing things is to answer questions. Alright, so notice how here, remember, so as we said, it's form. If it's an affirmative statement, a positive statement, you just have the verb. But if it's negative, you're going to need a auxiliary. So that's all for those. And then we got questions. Last thing to look at before we take a break. Questions. So here, if we're using the auxiliary verb as to start questions like did, we get yes/no answers. So for example, we use the auxiliary at the bottom, at the beginning, and then the verb comes near the end before the question mark. Notice how in the answers, there's the auxiliary too. But where's the verb gone in the answers? Did you watch TV, for example? Did you watch TV? I've added TV just because you can add a bit extra. And it says, yes, I did watch TV. So here the verb is, but we got parentheses, it becomes optional because we don't have to repeat it in the answer.
Because we already know.
Yes. Exactly, so we already know. So another example, did you travel? Now you can say, did you travel to Jeju? Did you travel to America? Did you travel in the vacation? Did you travel yesterday? Again, it's all talking about past tense. And you might say, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did travel. So the travel, again, for the parenthesis, becomes optional because it's already in the question. It's like, did you travel yesterday, Yonghee?
Yes, I did travel.
Oh.
Yes, I did. Oh, can I say yes, I traveled?
Yeah, but because you said yes, now I might want to ask a what question. Because I'm like interested. So where did you travel? Where did you go?
I traveled to Yijiang.
So notice that. So suddenly we start with the did you question. Yonghee says yes, and I'm interested in what she said. So then I'm like, oh, where did you travel? And she's like, I traveled to Yijiang, not France, sadly, not the old Eiffel Tower. You can give it a affirmative question. So you can see, where did you travel? Where did you travel? And then it becomes information. I want information. I traveled to Jeju Island. Oh, sorry. You notice here it's got two L's. I use one L.
That's fine.
I'm British. I don't like the 2L thing. Sorry. British spelling. Silly British people. But that's what. And notice how it's I traveled to. I traveled to. Okay. So Yonghi, just to answer your question, what did you watch yesterday?
I watched a TV show.
Very good. And I could say, what TV show did you watch? And you might say, I watched.
Vincenzo.
Okay.
Very, very popular TV drama.
Okay, good. So you can start with the did questions, move on to the work questions, and you build practice. You build practice in the language, and especially good for practicing past tense. And we'll look at speaking 1 in the next section after the break. So for now, that's probably enough of part. So thank you. This has been Neil, your professor, and my TA.
This is the end of part 1.
End of part 1. So bye.
Bye.